Okay, we're going to do two things in this video, convert to decimals and convert to fractions, because they're a lot alike. Okay, when converting to a decimal, if you don't have a calculator, all you have to do is long division. If you do have a calculator, just type in the calculator, for instance, on this one, 1 divided by 10 and hit enter. But let's say we don't have a calculator here. Okay, we have to do this by hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bottom number on the outside, the long division, and the top number on the inside. So we have 1 over 10. Now 10 can't go into 1. So we put a decimal point here, but as soon as we do the decimal point here, we have to put 1 up here in our answer. So we're going to have 0 point something. I'm going to add a 0 here. Now forget the decimals even there. 10 goes into 10 one time. 1 times 10 is 10, and we don't have a remainder. So we can stop. And converting this to a decimal is 0.1. Okay, on this one, same situation. 24 is the denominator, so we put that outside with a 9. 24 cannot go into 9, so I have to put a decimal point here, but as soon as I put that decimal point, I have to put it up top also. We said 24 cannot go into 9. 24 into 90. Now, sometimes what I do is I take this first number and 2 goes into 9 4 times, so it's probably going to be about 4, sometimes 3. So over here I'll check 3 first just to see. If I multiply 24 times 3, and you're not wasting time here because what you're doing is you're actually going to use this, 72. Okay, that's what it's going to be. So I put a 3 here. 3 times 24, well, I already figured it out over here. It's 72, and then we subtract because it's long division. Okay, so I'm going to have to borrow from this 9, put an 8 here, and 8 minus 7 is 1. Okay, so I have a remainder, so I'm going to add another 0 and bring that down. And now I have, because 24 won't go into 18, but 24 will go into 180. Okay, I'm just guessing here. If I look, 2 goes into 18 6 times, so probably 5 or 6. Let's try 5. I always like to try one less because sometimes that's all it is. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 2 is 10. Add 2 more, that's 120. Okay, it can go into it a lot more. I think it might actually be 7. 24 times 7. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 2 is 168. Yeah, 168. This problem is taken from your test, so this is one of the test problems. All right, 180 minus 168. Well, that becomes 10 when I make this 7. I borrow. Okay, and I got 12 left over, so let's add one more 0. I forgot to put my 7 up here. Let's add one more 0 and bring down that 0 to make it to where it's 120. Now luckily I already figured that out because 24 times 5 is 120. So I know if I put a 5 here, multiply it times 24, I get 120, and my remainder is 0. So my answer here is 0.375. Now converting to fractions is a lot easier. Okay, here's a little tip and trick that all you need to do. Okay, the number here you can write as your numerator, so 31, and then you're going to write a 1, and how many zeros depends on how many decimal places you have to the right. Okay, so like here I've got 1, 2 decimal places, so I'm going to put 2 zeros here. And then you need to check and see if that can be reduced down. There is no number that can go into 31 and 100. If they're both even numbers, I know 2 can go into it. That's in simplest form right here. All right, now what about this one? Looks like there's only a 0.7. Okay, so again, 7 is going to be my numerator. My denominator is a 1. And how many decimal places am I used? Well, just 1. So I just add 1 0. 7 over 10. Again, that fraction cannot be reduced. Looking at your test, there was not a fraction that could be reduced. So finally, 0.83, okay, 83 is our numerator. What do you think the denominator is? 1. How many zeros? 1, 2. And then I can check and see, is there any number that goes into 83 and 100? There is not. So my answer is 83 over 100.